Hi, this is Kristin Harrison. I am the founder and principal designer of Georgia and Hunt Design House, and we are based just outside of DC in Northern Virginia. I would annoy my parents, I think, from a very early age because I'd say, like, this doesn't belong here. This looks weird. Like, I almost thought it was an OCD thing that I had to walk around and just be like, this needs to move like 3 inches this way. I was doing that from when I was a kid. But I think like most people, I went into college and I thought like it was always kind of ingrained in me, like business, 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 business. And I never really even thought to go into anything artistic. I ended up selling medical devices in the operating room for a really long time. And I think that was great. I kind of got burnt out a little bit. Then I started having kids, and I think I realized like I don't really want to do this anymore. I don't really want to have this be my life. And I actually had a friend who quite literally forced me to design her house when she moved during COVID. Because if you remember, during COVID, it was really hard to find houses. So people were kind of like jumping at anything they could. And they ended up buying this house that she absolutely hated. But her husband was like, this is a great value. This is a great property. Like, we're buying the house, and she agreed. And she's like, you're going to design the house. And I said, I really don't think that's a good idea. We're friends. Like, this is bad. And she's like, just do it. Just do it. We'll do one room at a time. Just do it. And she ended up like being, I guess, Bethesda Magazine, which is it's a local magazine here, but it does have a ton of readership in the DC area. They had reached out to her to do an interview about buying during COVID, and she told them about me designing the house. And she actually like set up this photo shoot unbeknownst to me. And it all kind of like took off from there. And I taught myself everything. I'm not saying this is the right way to do it, but that was really only a few years ago. And then it exploded after that. The honest truth is I just like immersed myself in everything I possibly could. And I did that for a while before I took on a client. But I think the biggest thing is I truly tried to surround myself with people who were smarter than me. So I think that helped a lot. Like, I had a lot of really great mentors, honestly, like Tanya Smith-Shiflett, who owns Unique Kitchens and Baths, Lauren Lease, who's unbelievably talented and is local, Amy Banneker, who's talented and unbelievably talented and local, and Stephanie Krause out of Philadelphia. Like, I had these people that I don't know, I got incredibly lucky, and they've kind of guided me and answered all my stupid questions. And then I ended up hiring, I call her my unicorn, Caitlin, who has a degree, and everyone I hire has a degree. So that's one thing I will say. But they ended up just kind of like changing everything for me. And I come up with like very creative ideas, and Caitlin, and I have two Caitlins on staff actually, which is funny. They spell their names differently, but they're the ones that kind of say like, that's really creative, but we can't really do that. So just surrounding myself with smarter people than myself. So that's basically how it happened. For better or for worse, the internet is what it is, right? So social media is what it is. And I think that us having like a stronger presence on Instagram gives us reach to a lot of clients that we wouldn't normally get, or didn't know we existed. So I think that's kind of been a big push for us growing as fast as we did. We went from like, in the past year, we went from like maybe a couple thousand to like 55,000. So we've really grown in the last year very organically. So it kind of turned into something that I don't think we were expecting. And we've had some like reels that went viral, and just even some pictures that have done really well. We've gotten so much publicity, like locally, nationally, and I think that helps too. People see that and they think it kind of legitimizes what you're doing. It's like, hey, this isn't really a hobby. We're really doing these beautiful houses. I had one reel a while ago that really took off, and it was like kind of close-ups on the details of the photo shoots that we do, because you take all these pictures and then you can't really show them because You have to wait for them to get published, so it's really annoying, and I'm very impatient. So I would start doing reels of like really zoomed in details of of the pictures that we took. So like you couldn't see what the picture was, but you could see the details of it. And those reels started catching on. So I kind of found that formula of like, okay, this works, so let's keep trying this. So all of the reels that we've done like that have really taken off. I took on projects that I shouldn't have taken on, meaning like I didn't charge enough, or they weren't what I really am interested in doing. They didn't fit our style. And I think was the biggest mistake, right? Because you end up putting so much more time into those clients than you even thought. And really just like learning from that and saying, okay, I have to stop thinking that it's going to dry up and we're never going to get another client. I think that was like the biggest roadblock in my head for a long time, was like, I have to take everyone because I might not ever get a call again. And I think changing that mindset was one of the most important things that happened, right? And then I would say the best thing I did was make my first hire, just because I wasn't even ready to do it, which I don't think people really know when they're ready to hire someone. And to her credit, she just kind of like came along for this ride, and I didn't even know at the time like how I was going to pay her, how it was going to work. And she just kind of believed in what I was doing and saw the trajectory and jumped on. And now I couldn't even like imagine functioning without her or anyone else on our team. Because of the way the internet is and how like they think they can find specific products everywhere, there's a lot of knockoff products too. So people think like when we spec stuff, they're always like, oh, I can find this cheaper here. I can find this here. And I think we've kind of adapted a lot too. If we spec something, we're purchasing it for the client. If they do it themselves, then we're getting a portion of that sale, like it's in the contract. Because I think because of their access to, image searches and all of, Pinterest, they think like, oh, they're going to come up with this design and then I'm going to find something and, or I'm going to look at it and love it, but I can find this light cheaper. But what they don't realize is it's not the same light. It's coming from a different country. It has, cheap parts. It's not the same. It's not what we spec. And just because it's cheaper doesn't mean that that's going to look right. It's almost like everyone wants to kind of do it themselves, but also have a designer, if that makes sense. And we had to be very specific in terms of the wording in our contract. Like if we're taking the time and we're speccing these products, we're purchasing them for you. We don't run a charity. This is a business. We're doing a cabinet line with Unique Kitchens and Baths. We're doing a hardware line with Art and Forge. So I think like people do see a style from us and they gravitate towards it. And I think having some sort of product and residual income coming from that. I had been working with Unique Kitchens and Baths for a while, like since even when I did my own house, right? So before I even started doing any of this. So we had built up like a very good relationship, a very trusting relationship. And I think that she had seen, how my brain works, what my ideas are. And yeah, I mean, quite frankly, it is true, right? It's taking a chance on me because we are newer. So like I'm under no illusion that, I'm the draw here, right? They've been doing that for the Unique Kitchens and Baths have been doing this for a long time, and they have lines with some unbelievably incredible designers. So I think for her too, it was like maybe me pushing a little bit of a different perspective than what they have so far, which was kind of cool. And then Art and Forge for the hardware, it was kind of happened organically because I was looking for hardware that I couldn't really find anywhere, or I didn't really like. And I had reached out to them. Well, I actually had my PR reach out to them and say, like, here's the deal. She's looking for hardware. They're also based in Virginia. So I like that about the company. And it really started as more like, would you take a look at the drawings that she did and try and like create these? And then it just kind of evolved organically that, hey, this could be something really cool. Like we could make an actual line out of this. this world can be very scary and snotty, and you kind of feel like maybe you don't have a chance or you don't really belong because you didn't get a degree or you didn't, do any of the typical things that you need to do to be successful. But I think more and more we're seeing people that didn't have the experience before, but they have something and they really want to try. And I would just tell people, like, just try. Just because you'll regret it if you don't. The thing that I like to remind people of is, like, do not be discouraged by the fact that you haven't been doing this for 20 years, because the world is very different. The time it takes us to, like, double and triple our knowledge base is completely different than it was 10 years ago. I look at, like, a lot of other very successful designers and I'm jealous. Trust me, I'm jealous that they have a degree and that they went to school and they have that experience. But I also try to, like, block it out of my head and say, okay, they do have the experience, they have the degree, but that doesn't discredit anything that I'm doing or, like, what my vision is. I feel like I'm very outgoing. In general, like, I like to joke around. I have, like, a very dry sense of humor, but I love to be alone. I'm like, leave me alone. Like, invite me to your party, but I probably won't come. I think that's one thing they would be surprised to know about me, because I think when they meet me, they would think I'm out, like, just kind of going to every event or doing everything, but I am the complete opposite.